Okay, you're looking at the latest and greatest Traffic Factory 2.2, I believe. You look at my beta version. The production version is being pushed out this morning. It's Monday, November the 11th, 2019. Apologize for the little bing. Something is going on. Those have interrupted my recordings earlier this morning. If they happen again, I'll just pause and get rid of them and restart. So bear with me on that. Sorry. Anyway, this is the new version. You can close and open your Traffic Factory, and it will automatically update in place. We've changed the user interface a little bit, make it a little easier to read. We've increased the font sizes, again for readability, and also to make it easier to do these demonstration videos. Make them a little easier to see too. We've also activated the mouse keys in all input fields, so you can select copy and paste, etc. With your mouse keys, and don't have to use the keyboard combination Control C, V, X, etc. and A for select all, of course. The big change is there are two of them. The first one is the Dublin Core Schema Edition, and we'll go over that real quick and go over the way that I'm using it, and give you some ideas about how you can use it. As you can see, the schema generators they all take short codes and spin tags. So I'm using my keyword as my title, which is going to be the same as the title for the page that I'm generated using my keyword shortcode. I'm using a site name shortcode to define the site itself. This will be used in a couple places here on the schema. I use it in Creator, I use it in Publisher, and I use it in embedded in the copyright as well. And this is going to match up with what's going to be in the copyright statement at the bottom of all my pages. The site name. Subject, up to 20 keywords for you to use. And of course, you can use spin text, and you can use multiple shortcodes as well in the subject. Dublin Core takes up to 20 keyword phrases, separated by commas, as usual. In my description, what I've done is I've taken my meta content that I'm using and removed the keyword shortcode in my description because I've already got my keywords in a couple of places and don't want to overdo it. In my contributor, I'm using a different keyword file that has related keywords to my Warts project. And the rest of the fields are going to probably be pretty much self-explanatory, except for these three: an identifier, source, and relationship. What I've done is I've used my video randomizer from my content iframe. Look at that real quick. Oops. And see, we'll switch over to the HTML so you can see these iframes. And all I've done is I've taken my randomizing piece of code and added it to a view URL for YouTube. So it's going to randomly select a video as a relation to this schema content. On the identifier and the source, I'm using the URL for the container or bucket name that we're going to create. And you can deduce this by creating a test campaign and uploading it, which will give you this piece. And then the bucket name is a variable, a shortcode that I have created here that I'm also going to use to define the bucket name when I do my deploy. I've done the same with my site name. I showed you that before, I believe. So I've created these two new shortcodes to use as variables in my schema markup Dublin core. So I'm going to build, this is going to be a new project. So to make it a new project, I'm going to use some new keywords, because we're going to go through, we're going to do a new project because we're going to go through how to add this to Bing Webmaster Tools and authorize Bing Webmaster Tools. So we're going to copy some new keywords out of this giant keyword file that I've got, add them to this KWP shortcode file, or file that I'm using as a shortcode. Going to change the name, and just to create a new container, new bucket name. It's going to call this Best Treatments Online Near Me. And we're going to change our bucket name to also reflect that change, Near Me. And let's make it Near Me 2019. And we'll do that in both places. Be sure you save it. 2019. Save it. So now this is that's the extent of what we need to do our rinse and repeat, i.e. build multiple projects, multiple buckets, multiple sites rapidly in succession. So in this case, again, I've used the advanced redirect. I'm only going to redirect from my post pages or content pages. I'm not going to redirect from my index, category, or my tag pages. Now, real quickly, I'm going to let you know that if you rerun the exact same project, you will overwrite the existing contents of the container or bucket. This happens on Azure and also on Traffic Factory. Excuse me, S3 uploads from Traffic Factory. What this allows you to do is to save the entire project folder. For example, this one, if I wanted to keep it and rerun it again later, I would simply make a copy of this folder after I export my GSG file. And we'll do that just as a reminder. Always save your GSGs once you have a project that you're going to call final, that you want to keep all the information for. So what this allows you to do now is to come back and change those redirects later. You can come back and add links to a PVN, for example, and just overlay the existing bucket or container. So we're going to start, and we're going to add, again, we're going to use the site name shortcode there. We're going to update, we're going to add to Azure, click Next. We'll go over right now real quick how to get your connection string for Azure. And this container name is going to become our bucket name that we defined up here in this shortcode file. And go back to Traffic Factory and paste that in there using my mouse keys. Okay, real quick, we're going to jump over to my account and show you how to get that connection string real quick. In your Azure, Azure account, you'll log in. There will be another video on how to set up an Azure account. We currently have the videos for setting up for Ranking Factory, etc. So we'll use one of those videos because the setup is the same. So you would go to once you're logged in, you go to your storage accounts, pick your storage accounts. This is the one that I've been building in. Come over here and get your access keys for this storage account. And I've generated a couple of them. So you just copy the access string and paste it in your connection string field for Microsoft Azure uploads. So we're going to go ahead and add that. We're going to start it and run it. It'll just take a second to build this little project and upload it, and then we'll go through checking it, making sure it's doing what we expect, and then adding it to Bing Webmaster Tools, verifying ownership, and submitting the sitemap to Bing Webmaster Tools. You may or may not want to do that. It's up to you, but since we're adding Azure, and I'm actually doing some experiments on getting indexing into Google backdoor through Azure with the Dublin core schema. So I'm going to select all, copy these babies, and save them off over here into a new notebook ++ file, and I'm going to verify that my tag pages do not redirect. Okay, no redirection. It's content from my additional content for this particular project. So I'm going to take a quick look at the source. Verify my Dublin content is what I expect. And I'm going to verify that I have defined my URLs properly using those codes by opening this link and make sure, okay, I get my index file. So everything is correct at this point. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back over to Bing Webmaster Tools, and we're going to add a new site. So I'll jump back over here, and I'll grab my site name. Oops. Back to Bing, add a URL. Now, next it wants a sitemap, so we're going to accommodate. First, we're going to verify that our sitemap is accessible, easy peasy. Grab it, back to Azure, put our sitemap in, add. Okay, now it's going to want us to authorize this particular site that we just added. I have been unable to get the meta tag to work, but one thing I will tell you is that your user ID, okay, your user ID in this little file, which is your SEO, your Bing sitemap auth. I'm not going to save it because I've already got a copy of it. You only need to get the first copy, and you can use the same code, okay, in every one of the sites you put into this particular storage account. So we're going to come back to the storage account, and we're going to open it up. So of course this one is going to give me some grief. So let's go over to the resources in this one, and come on, open up for me. Oh, for Pete's sake. Okay, what I did was I came back to home instead of fumbling around in front of you people. I apologize for the delay. So I'm going to click here and go into the storage account. And it's still not showing me my resources in this storage account. So we're going to fumble around. And we're back. Okay. To get into our storage account and take a look at what we've uploaded, we're going to go to our storage account and click on containers, and it's going to open up our containers, and this is the container that we just uploaded creating our new project. So we're going to go in here, and we're simply going to upload that little HTML file that we just downloaded from our Bing Webmaster Tools. And see, to show you this, select the file, and as I said before, that the same XML file you can use in multiple containers once you have downloaded it from Bing Webmaster Tools. So now we'll come back over here, we'll verify that it's there like they ask us to, and there it is. And now we're going to verify the ownership of this particular container, so that Bing will, in fact, we're verifying, crawl that sitemap and schedule it for indexing. So to wrap up, I guess we're not going to wait for that to happen. Oh, there we go. Good. So it's pending. There are a couple of more that I did over the weekend while I was testing, and I'll show you this. Let's see. This was the one I did this morning. That's the one we just did. This one I did earlier this morning, and this one I did on Saturday, which was 2 days ago. And it's crawled the sitemap, and it's scheduled for crawling, but has not been crawled as yet, so a couple of days, and we're still waiting for that to happen. So that's what I guess we can expect from Bing. I'll be following up on that and keep an eye on what's going on over there. So to recap, we added Azure. We updated our user interface and updated and added our Dublin core schema. I showed you how I'm using it. Some people are proponents of less is more, and simple is fine with Dublin core. Dublin core is a generic kind of schema. As you can see, it doesn't have all of the specifics for example, for a local business or a product or other. You even have multiple types of local businesses, which I guess drives the content of the schema, and or a person, a product, an event. These are more specific schemas. Dublin core is basically, we added it so that it's a more generic schema that Google and Bing love. I know it's kind of focused on Bing today, but Google also is a big consumer of Dublin core, and what we expect is that it will also help get indexed over in Google. Google also is crawling Bing continuously. So if Bing gets your site crawled and indexed, then you can bet that Google's going to find it that way as well, and find the Dublin core schema and whatever other schema that you add. Next release, we're going to be adding XML sitemaps for videos and for images, and then we're going to be working on some more customizations for schema in the release following that. So hope you like the changes, and as always, if you find any bugs, report them to me directly, or talk about questions you have in the groups, of course. Thanks again.